You're watching DT India Live from New Delhi. This is special broadcast strengthening India-Mauritius ties. On the invitation of the Prime Minister of Mauritius, Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi is on a state visit to Mauritius on 11th of March, that's today, and 12th, that is tomorrow. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be attending the National Day celebrations of Mauritius on 12th of March as the chief guest, and we will be getting you live inputs from Mauritius as Indian Prime Minister has already arrived, and we will be getting you the visuals of that arrival. Also, we will be also joined by a special expert on the broadcast to talk on the finer points of Prime Minister Modi's Mauritius visit, and most importantly, its impact on firming up the India-Mauritius ties. We will be joined by reporters on the ground to track Prime Minister Modi's two-day visit. So let's begin. Describing Mauritius as a close maritime neighbour and a key partner in the Indian Ocean region, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a two-day visit to the island nation. And ahead of his visit, Prime Minister Modi, in his departure statement, said, and I quote, "Mauritius is a close maritime neighbour, a key partner in the Indian Ocean region and a gateway to the African continent. We are connected by history, geography and culture. Deep mutual trust, a shared belief in the values of democracy and celebration of our diversity are our strengths. The close and historical people-to-people connect is a source of shared pride. We have made significant strides in the past 10 years with people-centric initiatives, looking forward to the opportunity to engage with the Mauritius leadership to elevate partnership in all its facets and strengthen enduring friendship for the progress and prosperity of our people, as well as for security and development in the Indian Ocean region as part of our broader Vision Sagar. A momentous occasion awaits us as Prime Minister Modi has arrived in Mauritius. His visit as the chief guest for the Mauritius's National Day celebration marks another milestone in deep and historic ties between the two nations. DT India's correspondent brings us the latest on the preparations and expectations. Akshay Dongre's report.
Excitement building up in Mauritius ahead of the arrival of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who will arrive in the island nation on a two-day state visit on Tuesday. The visit marks the second occasion when PM Modi will attend the National Day of Mauritius as the chief guest, the first being in 2015. The excitement is palpable, with final preparations underway for the high-profile event. The Indian diaspora, that forms about 70% of the population of the country, is elated at the visit of the Prime Minister of India.
We are going to perform a welcome song on his honor and a folk dance.
Mauritius is considered to be a small India. So here, just like India, we celebrate Holi, Diwali, Mahashivratri. Right. So we are very happy to welcome Modi ji here.
Tied by a living bridge of the Indian diaspora, both India and Mauritius share a very close relationship, which is built on mutual trust and cooperation. India is amongst the largest trading partners of Mauritius. Mauritius is the second largest source of FDI into India during FY 23-24, with US dollars 44.4 billion inflows. In 2021, India and Mauritius signed a comprehensive economic cooperation and partnership agreement. 11 Indian PSUs are operational in Mauritius. Mauritius is one of the largest beneficiaries of Indian technical and economic cooperation program. India has traditionally been the first responder for Mauritius in times of crisis, including during the recent COVID-19, Wakashio oil spill crises, and Cyclone Chido. Meanwhile, Mauritius has been a key partner in India's diplomatic outreach. In 2024 alone, Mauritius played a crucial role in multiple high-level engagements, including the Raisina Dialogue, the India-Africa Conclave, and the G20 Summit, where it co-launched the Global Biofuels Alliance alongside India.
This visit is very high on symbolism. It is also very high in terms of our substantive outcomes and content. Because this is a truly special relationship. This relationship has evolved into a modern partnership which is very multifaceted. So Mauritius is our partner in terms of our interests in the Indian Ocean region. It is a maritime security partner. We have a development partnership relationship with Mauritius.
Both the nations share close cooperation in various fields, including maritime security, development partnership, capacity building, cooperation in international fora, vibrant cultural exchanges, people-to-people ties. Cultural and educational exchanges also form a key aspect of the relationship, with nearly 70% of Mauritians tracing their roots to India. Institutions like the Mahatma Gandhi Institute play a crucial role in strengthening historical and cultural connections.
As Mauritius readies itself to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his second state visit to the country, there are high hopes and expectations that both the countries are going to take their relationships, be it economical, cultural, traditional, or trade relations, to a new, unprecedented level. With camera person Mahesh Sharma from Port Louis in Mauritius, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
Well, this visit also comes right in the beginning of a fresh term of office for Mauritius Prime Minister Ramgoolam, and of course Prime Minister Modi also into his third term of office. So the visit is indeed a very timely visit, and it is going to enable both sides to take stock of bilateral ties and also provide orientation to engagement in the coming months and years. So let's now take a look at what's on agenda of Prime Minister Modi's two-day visit to Mauritius. Well, one of the key highlights of this visit is that Prime Minister is being invited also, as we told you, as the chief guest for the National Day celebrations of Mauritius, which is going to take place on the 12th of March. On the occasion of the National Day there, a contingent of the Indian Defence Forces will be participating in these celebrations. That's also one of the important aspects. Prime Minister will be visiting the Sir Seewoosagur Ramgoolam Botanical Garden to pay homage to Sir Seewoosagur Ramgoolam, the former Prime Minister and the founding father of Mauritius, and also Sir Anirudh Jagannath, former President and former Prime Minister of Mauritius. Moving on to the other official engagements of Prime Minister Modi will be calling on the new President of Mauritius, Dharambir Gokul, and this will be followed by bilateral meetings with Prime Minister Ramgoolam. It is expected that there will be meetings with other political leadership during the visit. Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Ramgoolam will then together inaugurate a few projects that have been implemented with Indian assistance, and will also witness the signing of several key MOUs on cooperation in the field of capacity building, bilateral trade, tackling of cross-border financial crimes, and promoting small and medium enterprises. There also will be an interaction with the members of the Indian community or diaspora, the Friends of India, and socio-cultural organization in Mauritius during the two-day visit of Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. So those were more or less the broader elements of Prime Minister Modi's two-day visit to Mauritius, and some of the things that are likely to happen during the visit and the key deliverables or the outcomes that are expected. And to talk more about it, let's quickly go across. We will be going across to Akshay in a while from now. Meanwhile, let's get to some more news and updates from Mauritius itself. The Indian High Commissioner to Mauritius, Anurag Srivastava, has shared some key insights ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's upcoming state visit. DD India's Akshay Dongre spoke to him earlier. This is his exclusive report.
Excitement is brewing up in Mauritius as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to arrive in the country. Both the countries share very close relation, but with this state visit of Prime Minister, the relations are expected to grow to newer heights. And to talk about this state visit, we have the Ambassador of India to Mauritius, Mr. Anurag Srivastava. Sir, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to come and be the chief guest of the National Day of Mauritius. How significant do you think is this visit by the Prime Minister?
This is a very significant visit. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's visit, which is coming up on the 11th and 12th of March, is on the invitation of Prime Minister Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, and Prime Minister Modi has been invited to be the chief guest at the National Day celebrations of Mauritius on the 12th of March. The date 12th March is of great significance to both countries. It is, of course, the day when Mauritius became independent. It was also the day when it was declared as a republic. But at the same time, this day was particularly chosen for a certain reason. This is the day when Mahatma Gandhi started his Dandi March from Sabarmati Ashram. So it is a day which holds significance to both countries. This visit is very high on symbolism. It is also very high in terms of our substantive outcomes and content. Because this is a truly special relationship.
Do you think this people-to-people connect is perhaps one of the very rare kind of connect that you see around the world between two countries?
Absolutely. This is a truly special relationship, as I said, because it is placed on the bedrock of our strong people-to-people ties. And these shared bonds of history, the shared bonds of culture, heritage and kinship that bind us together is the strength of the relationship. But at the same time, I must add that this relationship has evolved into a modern partnership which is very multifaceted. So Mauritius is our partner in terms of our interests in the Indian Ocean region. It is a maritime security partner. We have a development partnership relationship with Mauritius.
Indian High Commissioner to Mauritius, Mr. Anurag Srivastava, telling us about all the preparations that are going on and the excitement that is brewing up in this island nation for the arrival of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. With camera person Ajit Kumar, I'm Akshay Dongre, DD India.
And now let's quickly go live across to Mauritius from where my colleague Akshay, who just earlier had filed this exclusive report, joins us live from Port Louis in Mauritius, and also take this opportunity to welcome Professor Ajay Kumar Dubey. Akshay, yes, you are absolutely ready live on DD India broadcast. Can we reconnect with Akshay? It's absolutely fine. Good morning, Akshay. Let's go to Akshay. He's ready, and also I take this opportunity to welcome Ajay Kumar Dubey, from School of International Studies, JNU. Thank you very much, Professor. Let's quickly first get a perspective and insight as far as the significance of this visit of Prime Minister Modi to Mauritius is concerned. Akshay, the optics of it, but most importantly, not only symbolism, but there's a lot of substantive expectations that are attached to this two-day visit. Take us through the significance in terms of the way India looks at Mauritius as a key partner in the Indian Ocean region, and for them also what makes this very important.
Well, Sakal, it's a very, very close relationship, and it has been fostered over decades as far as India and Mauritian relations are concerned. India has always been the first responder, be it any crisis, COVID-19, the major cyclones that Mauritius has faced, or the kind of development that Mauritius has been looking for. India has been a very trusted and reliable partner, and that is the reason why when the Prime Minister of Mauritius announced that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be the chief guest of the National Day of Mauritius on 12th of March, there was a thunderous applause in the Parliament of Mauritius because cutting across party lines, one thing that is for sure here in Mauritius is that the kind of support that India has given, it has been appreciated over the decades. So, coming to the geopolitical element of both of these countries share, water borders as far as Indian Ocean region is concerned. India is the residential power in the Indian Ocean region. Mauritius is also located in the same region, and both of these countries are at a location where a lot of trade passes through when it comes to connecting Europe to Southeast Asia, to South Asia, or even going further to other parts of the world. Both of these countries have been cooperating for a long time, but now, given the changes that are happening in the geopolitical situation, both of these countries have decided to take their relationship to the next level. In fact, I spoke to the Foreign Minister of Mauritius yesterday, who said that the relationship has to be taken to a strategic level between the two countries. There has to be a lot of MOUs that have to be signed when it comes to maritime security. India and Mauritius are expected to play an even larger role as far as the security of these trade routes are concerned, the security of freedom of movement is concerned, and that perhaps is the reason why when the parade marches tomorrow, there will be Indian contingents as well. NCC cadets will be marching along. The Mauritian counterparts, there will be a ship of the Indian Navy, there will be aerobatic exercises of the Indian Air Force, and that's not just optics, that is a show of strength by both the countries, that they remain as close as ever as far as the maritime security is concerned, their bilateral relations are concerned, that have been taken to the next level under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's noteworthy to mentioned that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was also the chief guest of the National Day of Mauritius in 2015 as well.
Yes.
In fact, the Mauritian delegations have been part of all of his swearing-in ceremonies. Be it 2014, Mauritian delegation was part of the swearing-in ceremony for Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2019, and then again in 2024 as well. So clearly, it is a relationship of mutual respect. It is a relationship of coordination, of cooperation, and with the diaspora comprising of about 70% of population of Mauritius. The locals also call it Little India. However, when we talk about the mutual respect, that has remained always between the two countries.
India's civilizational footprints. Akshay, a little bit of an elaboration on the whole people-to-people connect and Little India in Mauritius, the civilizational footprints that we get to see there, and for the fact that this visit kind of cements this relationship further. A bit on the engagements of Prime Minister as well. Two aspects to this question, quickly.
Well, Sakal, you're absolutely right. The people-to-people connect is as strong as ever. In fact, one of the most historically significant place in Mauritius is the Apravasi Ghat. That is the dock where the indentured labor was brought by the British authorities after after there was a ban on slave labor in 1834, and it was that time when indentured labor was brought in here for sugarcane plantation. So among those indentured labor, about 500,000, 97.5% were from the Indian subcontinent. So that gives you an idea about the number of people who came here in the 19th century, and two-thirds of them stayed here. They made Mauritius their own country. They in fact built this country from the scratch. It was an island that had nothing but jungles and tropical forests. But the indentured labor who came here and then they made Mauritius their home, they were the people who built this country to what it is today, and that perhaps is the reason why both the countries share a very, very close civilizational links. In fact, at Apravasi Ghat Museum, you can see Ramayan as Ramayan scriptures as well that have been kept here, that were brought in from India in the 19th century. There are all sort of pots, all sort of cuisines that have been brought here by the indentured laborers who came in from India. So be it the cuisine, be it the language and other things as well, you will see a link with India. In fact, on the notes on the currencies of Mauritius, you will see you will see Hindi written there. On the signboards at the airport or other places, you will see Hindi written there, and that is also because the number of Indians that came in here, even today, they form about 70% of the population. That is a link between two countries that is unprecedented, that has never been seen anywhere in the world. The kind of close connect that has been there for centuries, which still remains today.
Okay, a quick one on Prime Minister's engagements itinerary, Akshay, for today specifically.
Well, yes, absolutely, Sakal. Prime Minister will be coming here, where at his resort where he will be staying, where there will be a small community, Indian diaspora, which will be welcoming Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In fact, there are children who have prepared a welcome song for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who will also be here in a short while from now. There are cultural performances that have been planned for the community event. But as far as today's engagements are concerned, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be going to the Botanical Garden, where he will be paying homage to the leaders of Mauritius. He will be also meeting with the president of the country, and then there will be a community event today at about 5 p.m. Local time, and at about 7:30 there is going to be a meeting between the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister of India and Prime Minister of Mauritius as well.
Okay. Akshay Dogre of DD India joining us live from St. Louis. Akshay, stay with us. I also take this opportunity to welcome Madam Suchita Berry, Senior Fellow VIF. Thank you so much, ma'am. Good morning to both my panelists. Professor Dubey, starting with you first as Akshay continues to stay with us. Gateway to the African continent as far as India is concerned, that's something which also speaks about the diplomatic significance. But to begin with, your take on the fact that this is, there have been multiple occasions when the Indian top leadership, be it our Prime Minister or Honorable President, who have graced their National Day, kind of signifies the amount of, strategic significance that Mauritius attaches to India.
Yeah, I think Mauritius and India have historic ties. It's the first country outside the neighborhood of India where people-to-people ties are very, very strong. And that drives the relationship between India and Mauritius. But three things that are important for Prime Minister visit this time, though top political leadership had been visiting each other in the past. Number one, that this visit is soon after the new government has taken over in power, which was this party was out of power for the last 10 years. And in last 10 years, government of India has entered into contract, into agreement, have done several projects together in strategic area and economic area that needs to be continued and further built upon. And therefore, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi visit to Mauritius at this stage and meeting the new Prime Minister and discussing what to do over the project that we have done and how to move forward is the one. The second thing that is important, that Indo-Pacific has become a hot spot in the Indian Ocean region, and it's a recent phenomena. And Prime Minister visit to Mauritius to talk about this and to strengthen India's position to play its role in the region through Mauritius cooperation, through Agalega Island and other strategic assets is very important. And third, that Sagos Island, which was where the Diego Garcia is located, was discussed between Mauritius and UK, and it was agreed that after 99-year lease, it will be passed on, sovereignty will be passed on to Mauritius. In fact, the sovereignty remains, the control will be passed on to Mauritius. Now, the Trump has taken different positions. Ramgoolam has taken a different positions, and India, which was also supporting the mediation, has to deal with this. Though India supports India supports Mauritius unequivocally to have the sovereignty of Mauritius on Diego Garcia and Sagos Island, but this has to be negotiated further. So the PM visit to this region will allow discussing all these three things and taking the ties to a higher level in maritime area and in strategic partnership.
Okay, the fact that a marching contingent from the Indian Navy along with the Indian Navy helicopter Akash Ganga and the skydiving team from Air Force, Indian Air Force, will be part of their National Day celebrations. Having said that, Ruchita Berry, coming to you, Ms. Berry, the Vision Sagar, how this visit really highlights the pivotal role as far as India-Mauritius partnerships are concerned. Your take, ma'am, opening remarks.
Yeah, so Sagar, we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of Sagar this year. It was 10 years ago when Prime Minister Modi was in Mauritius that he announced the Sagar, his Sagar vision. Sagar means security and growth for all. And this is a kind of a partnership, a shared partnership that the government of India has shown towards the Indian Ocean states, including the Mauritius, basically suggesting that that India and the Indian Ocean Rim countries should come together in resolving both the security issues and the development issues which these countries are facing. That it is a shared challenge that these countries face, and therefore it is important that we should work for finding the solutions for this together. And India has supported the security, whatever security support say, Mauritius needed or the development support in the last 10 years. So this is a very important milestone event when Prime Minister Modi is visiting Mauritius. Sagar was launched 10 years ago, and so it is an important maritime vision, a vision for security of this region. So this visit is seminal in this regard.
Well, excitement is brewing in Mauritius for Prime Minister Modi, and let's now take a look at these visuals. First on your channel, DT India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival visuals being greeted by the top leadership of Mauritius there. The visit marks Honorable Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi's second state visit as the chief guest at the Mauritius National Day celebrations after 2015. Visuals of Prime Minister's arrival at Mauritius today. In fact, what also highlights the strategic significance and the close ties as far as India-Mauritius ties are concerned. In this edition of their National Day, the Indian naval ships will also make a port call at Port Louis to celebrate the occasion. Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India arriving at Sir Seewoosagur Ramgoolam International Airport, being accorded a very, very warm welcome and reception by the top leadership of Mauritius. And Prime Minister's two-day visit signifies the kind of importance that Mauritius attaches to its ties with India under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The visit also highlights the very, very significant role that India-Mauritius relationship or partnership plays in India's Vision Saga, and in Mauritius being seen as the key partner in the Indian Ocean region. As we stay with these visuals, Akshay, my colleague who is there right now as we speak, joining us on phone line from Port Louis. Akshay, over to you. Akshay, on screen, Prime Minister Modi's arrival visuals seem to be, and this, you know, the kind of bonhomie that we see and the kind of welcome and reception that has been accorded to our Prime Minister speaks volumes of not only the firming up of ties, but the already existing relationship which is poised to go to the next level. Akshay.
Well, absolutely, Sakal. In fact, the relationships are as close as they have ever been. In fact, they are expected to even enhance further, strengthen further, with both the sides very keen on taking this relationship that is a traditional partnership towards strategic one, because both the countries are expected to play an even larger role as far as providing a net security to the Indian Ocean region is concerned. In the last few years, we have seen that kind of security situation deteriorate, not just in the Indian Ocean region, but around the world. And that perhaps has given the global south a reason to further enhance their own voice as far as the security matters related to their countries are concerned. So the world has realized, especially the global south, the pitch that has been given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that nobody is coming to rescue the global south. Nobody is going to talk about the security or the development of these countries that are still developing. And perhaps that's the reason why both India and Mauritius, along with other global south countries, have been taking their relationship to even further levels. In fact, we have seen during G20, Mauritius was invited to attend the G20 summit. We have also seen that Mauritius being a part of the African continent, it remains grateful for India's pitch to include the African Union in the G20 as well.
Right.
And that has been noted not just by one side of the political spectrum here in Mauritius, but cutting across party lines. The politicians or the public or the leaders, everyone realizes the kind of work that India is putting as far as providing voice to the voiceless, voice to the global south is concerned, and that is the reason why Mauritius is expecting to further enhance trade ties, strategic ties, relations, people to people connect with India, and you have rightly mentioned that Mauritius is the gateway to Africa as well, be it the pharmaceutical sector, be it education, healthcare, the kind of expertise that India has. It has always been very, very open in sharing these expertise with its fellow global south countries, and that is the reason why the relationships have been, as far as India-Mauritius relations are concerned, they have been like never before. this welcome that we have seen of Prime Minister Narendra Modi as soon as he landed in
He's
Port
being
Louis,
received
is
by
a testimony
the
to
Prime
the kind
Minister
of
of
warmth
Mauritius
that
himself.
the people of Mauritius feel.
And that's a rare gesture.
Pardon, Sakal, can you come again?
I was just trying to reiterate that Prime Minister Modi has been received by Prime Minister of Mauritius at the Seewoosagur International Airport there. We see the bonhomie between the two leaders. If you can play those visuals again. Prime Minister of Mauritius, Naveen Ramgoolam, personally receiving Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India with a very, very warm hug. Akshay.
Well, absolutely, Sakal, and that showcases not just what personally the Prime Minister of Mauritius the feeling that he has for India and for the Indian Prime Minister, but it is in fact it shows the kind of warmth that even the people of Mauritius have for India, for Indians and the Indian leadership as well, for enhancing their relationship, for taking the ties between the two countries to the next level, and that is expected by both the sides as far as the strategic partnership expectations are concerned, the cultural ties, the cultural trade is concerned between the two countries. That is in fact a testimony to the warmth that remains between the two countries, and that hug was in fact a symbol for that.
Mauritius is the second largest source of FDI into India, you know, and as far as the trade ties and the commercial relationship is concerned, Akshay, this visit is very, very important as well, for them especially.
Absolutely. In fact, after Singapore, Mauritius is in fact the second largest source of FDI. In return, India has also been involved in several of development projects in Mauritius. The Metro Rail project is one such example. India has given about $500 million worth of credit line to Mauritius. As far as the water projects are concerned, there India has been investing heavily, and further as far as the revampment of the water supplies in Mauritius, that is one core area where further cooperation between the two countries is expected as well. So it is a relationship of mutual trust and mutual benefit as well between the two countries, and that is what we have seen works in geopolitics, where it comes in it works in between two countries when it comes to bilateral relations. Relations work on mutual trust. Relations do not work when one larger country dominates or dictates their terms to a smaller nation, and that has been realized by Mauritius as well, that India has been treating Mauritius equally, it has been treating other countries of global south equally, and this trust has been further built after G20 hosting by India, where India not just spoke, it showed in actions that it has a mutual respect for the countries, its fellow countries of global south, including the entire African continent that was included in the G20 members that involves Mauritius as well. So this gateway to Africa has been a friend to India for centuries and for decades, but now it is a partner. It is and it is expecting to be a strategic partner to India as well, which can be a very, very core issue as far as taking up between the two leaderships of the two countries.
Prime Minister Naveen Ghulam has just taken over, and there's a change of guard, there in Mauritius. And as you mentioned earlier, Akshay, Prime Minister Modi is also expected to meet the top leadership of Mauritius there. What makes this visit of India's Prime Minister significant for them?
Well, it becomes significant, absolutely, Sakar. It becomes very, very significant as far as the trade ties are concerned. Mauritius is a country that is heavily reliant on tourism. So tourism is the biggest source of of livelihood here for the people. Second is the sugarcane farming. Then there are other smaller aspects. But India being a much larger economy, an economy which is one of the largest, in fact the largest and the fastest growing economy when it comes to the large economies, Mauritius does look up to India as far as its own growth story is concerned, because we have seen said that since 2004 Mauritius has been a visa-free country for the tourists from India. There is a huge influx of tourists that come for tourist purpose here in India. Then there is other sectors like the pharmaceutical industry, which is in close coordination with the Indian pharmaceutical industry and expects to further enhance their relationships. So in every walk of life, when it comes to the trade, when it comes to livelihood, when it comes to economy, Mauritius does rely on India. India also relies on Mauritius on several aspects as far as tourism is concerned, as far as the expertise that Mauritius has in the tourism sector and other sectors, vis-a-vis the kind of changes that even Mauritius has been taking place, the changes that have been taking place in Mauritius as far as further enhancing the tourism sector, further strengthening the tourism sector, and that's also the reason why both the countries have mutual respect for each other along with the political leadership.
Okay, Akshay, I would request you to stay with us if it's possible. We can hear some drum beats there. I think there's a lot of preparation that's underway for Prime Minister Modi's arrival at the resort. And why not? Because you have a huge chunk of Indian diaspora there in Mauritius. Let me take this to Professor Ajay Kumar Dubey, who continues to stay with us from School of International Studies in JNU. Do you see this as a rare gesture? And also Ma'am Berry with us, Prime Minister Ramgoolam personally receiving the Prime Minister there. And I think that's something which has set the tone and tenor and agenda for things likely to come on table in the next 2 days. Professor Dubey?
But relationship between India and Mauritius had been always warm, and Prime Minister Modi had been always very friendly to the foreign visitors and wherever he visits. But beyond this, the Mauritius and India relationship is not just dependent on two leadership, but it has strong historical ties, diaspora ties, and people-to-people relations, where the warmness is, you can feel everywhere, warmness not just in meeting, but also in the kind of agreement that they sign, kind of position they take on international relations. Mauritius has been one country in the world outside India's neighborhood which has never opposed India in any international fora. So it's a relationship of friendship, warmness, it's a relationship of kinship and people-to-people ties. So it's natural that these two prime ministers, when they meet, that kind of expression come.
Ms. Berry, your take, especially how Mauritius fits it so beautifully as far as India's Seewoosagur is concerned. And we have seen the level of engagements since 2014 between India and Mauritius, the special relationship, whether you talk about they participating in the Voice of Global South 3.0 or being the special guest at G20 in 2023, all of that.
Yeah, I think Mauritius and India share a very special relationship. There's no doubt about it. It is a country where the kinship is not just because, say, about 70% of the population is of Indian origin. That definitely impacts on the relationship, but otherwise also the way the relationship has built in terms of the support India has given to the development support India has given to Mauritius over the years. We've given about $1 billion US worth of development development assistance to the Mauritius, and also in terms of security. Also, we've had very close ties with Mauritius. Indian Navy has been involved in patrolling along with the Mauritian forces, the EEZ of Mauritius. So it is a close partnership that we have Mauritius, and also the fact that India recognizes that Mauritius is a key partner uh, in in the Indian Ocean region for India, and it is also a, a country which is important as a gateway to Africa. So these are some of the issues which make the relationship with Mauritius very special for India. India really, is very proud of its close connect with Mauritius, and with the fact that the Prime Minister of Mauritius received Narendra Modi breaking the protocol. I think this is something denotes that it is a special relationship indeed.
Okay. Or would you like to also talk about the areas of engagement, Ms. Berry? Especially the kind of robust synergy or convergences that we have seen in a developmental partnership and capacity building, India's contribution there in Mauritius, building their assets.
Yeah. See, India's policy in terms of with all countries in Africa, and this is something which has been, announced by Prime Minister Modi in the last decade, is his principles for India-Africa engagement. The top principle is that Africa is the top priority, and Mauritius is an African country, and therefore, building closer ties with Mauritius is a top priority for India. And second, most important is that India's development partnership will be guided by the African countries, and here India has taken into account whatever the demands and the priorities of Mauritius has been in terms of developing a partnership in the development realm with Mauritius. So whether it is capacity building, training, human resource development, that has been one of the important pillars of India's relationship with Mauritius in the development sphere. It has also helped in development of several infrastructure projects in Mauritius, whether it is in the healthcare sector, the ENT hospital, or in terms of building development infrastructure. Mauritius was one of the first countries where India offered the UPI, the digital unified payment interface. So India has a special relationship, a special partnership with Mauritius, and it has spanned various sectors, whether it is building the water works in Mauritius. So the priorities of Mauritius, the people of Mauritius, were taken very carefully by the Indian government when building a development partnership with the Mauritius.
Right. Having said that, Professor Dubey, the engagements between India and Mauritius since 2014, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to power, you see there has been a pattern of continuity in this, and the recent being Honorable President being the chief guest there at the National Day celebrations in 2024, and then we had the top leadership of the Mauritius participating in the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Modi in 2014, 2019 and 2024. So there is this existing synergy there, and when you have already a relationship which spans over a decade almost, and in that sense, and the timings of it, what's happening around the world, I think that's a very important aspect too.
Yes, that's a very important aspect, because this is also a time when the Indo-Pacific issues have become important. It's also a time when the Trump administration has come to the United States, and issues of Diego Garcia is again back on the table after the first government. It's also a time when India is surfacing globally and is trying to engage the world at its own term. And countries like Mauritius are a very friendly country, and therefore all kinds of economic engagements are going on. As you pointed out, the development relationship in terms of establishing a civil service training institutions, establishing hospital, which Prime Minister will sign both the deals. And so many other projects came during Prime Minister Modi tenure, like metro project, which was not there earlier in Mauritius. And you can see the community house building that happened during Prime Minister Modi time. So several projects have come for development. Several strategic issues have come on the table under Prime Minister Modi. You could see Agagela becoming an important strategic assets for Mauritius, where India is also cooperating very closely with Mauritius to handle different kinds of maritime security issues and issue of surveillance around the region. So it's a relationship which had moved stronger during Prime Minister Modi's his visit at this stage to meet the new Prime Minister who has come
Yes.
after 10 years and political parties have changed, is further going to strengthen and cement that kind of relationship.
You know, that shift, Ms. Berry, if you would also like to reflect on that aspect, the shift during the leadership or the current ruling dispensation of Prime Minister Modi. Okay, we have now the visuals of Prime Minister Modi's being accorded the ceremonial reception at Mauritius. There he's accompanied by Prime Minister of Mauritius, Naveen Ramgoolam. Earlier, upon his arrival at the Seewoosagur Ramgoolam International Airport, now being accorded a ceremonial reception. I think it's the play out of the national anthem of India there in Mauritius, as is the protocol and the tradition as far as ceremonial welcomes are concerned. Prime Minister Modi being accorded a ceremonial reception where we saw the national anthem of India being played out, as is the part of protocol, and he's being accompanied by Prime Minister of Mauritius, Naveen Ramgoolam, and First Lady, and he's also being introduced there as far as the top leadership of Mauritius. There is the team of Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam is concerned there. As we stay with these visuals and the ceremonies there, Akshay, this is unprecedented in the sense that you have the Prime Minister breaking the protocol and going, himself personally receiving Prime Minister Modi. This also reflects the personal rapport that both leaders share in the bonhomie, and of course the kind of significance that Mauritius attaches to Prime Minister Modi's visit to Mauritius. Akshay.
Well, absolutely. In fact, the Prime Minister going, meeting and welcoming Prime Minister Narendra Modi is like a person going in, welcoming their friend. And in fact, that's what the people of Mauritius have also been saying, that when Prime Minister Narendra Modi comes here, it feels like a family member coming to their country back again. And that perhaps is the reason why such warmth is being displayed by the people of Mauritius. In fact, let me show you around the place where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be coming. And you can already see that there are songs that are being played. There are bhajans that have been prepared by the people of Mauritius to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They are calling "Swagat hai" to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There are these tablas, there are these Indian instruments, and there are certain instruments that are used in Mauritius as well. So it's a fusion of cultures that have been preserved here in Mauritius, be it the Indian culture or the culture that comes in from Africa as well. that has been formulated in a unique way to form the culture that Mauritius has today, and it is in fact a very warm display of welcome to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. These people have travelled from different parts of the country just to get a glimpse of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They have been preparing for weeks now to welcome a Prime Minister as he arrives in Mauritius after a gap of about 10 years. In fact, let us remind our viewers that the connection has been consistent between the two countries. In 2015, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was here. There were a lot of MOUs that were signed. PM was the chief guest of the National Day of Mauritius. In fact, just last year, it was our Honorable President Shrimati Draupadi Murmu who was here in Mauritius as well. She was also the chief guest of the National Day of Mauritius, and this time around, it's again Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And it's not a one-party decision to welcome Prime Minister Modi at the National Day of Mauritius. It is a support that cuts across party lines. It cuts across the religions. It cuts across languages. It cuts across ethnicities here in Mauritius, because India has been always seen as a reliable partner, a very close friend, a friend that has always been there in need, a friend that has always come to the rescue whenever there has been a crisis. In COVID-19, India provided vaccines to Mauritius. India provided medicines to Mauritius. India has been there when it comes to the natural calamities that have hit the island nation. India is also Sakal, and that's very important, has raised climate action, climate issues that threaten the very existence of Mauritius. India has taken these issues in front of the entire world on global forums like G20, where India is called for robust climate action to support countries like Mauritius, who may not be able to be that vocal in these bigger international forums. So clearly, it has been a relationship that has been fostered by consecutive governments in Mauritius as well as in India as well. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just cemented these ties that have been preserved over the past several decades and centuries. The indentured labor that came in here, that built the country, is about 97% of the indentured labor that came in here, and still forms about 70% of the population. You can go around anywhere in the country and speak to the locals, and they will try and make an effort to speak in Hindi if the person is not able to communicate with them. So Hindi is a language that is spoken by all of the people here as well.
The soft power and the civilizational connect between India and Mauritius, if it's possible, only if it's possible for you, if you could just request your camera person to pan the camera, and if possible, if you could just have a quick word with the ladies out there who seem to be all prepped up. Again, it's going to be a little India on display. Perhaps it's already little India on display as they gear up to welcome Prime Minister Modi. You know, that aspect of people-to-people connect and civilizational linkages between the two countries. You also spoke about the consistency in the relationship under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, whether it's the top leadership of Mauritius coming to India, being part of the swearing-in ceremony, and the engagements at the other multilateral fora as well.
Well, Sakal, let me just first show you once again the welcome reception at the entrance of this resort where PM will be arriving, and they are singing a Hindi song. In fact, the lyrics goes as Swagat hai Modi ji, aapka swagat hai, which is their own way of welcoming the Prime Minister. There are several Sanskrit songs that have also been prepared by the young children that are at the other part of this particular resort from where Prime Minister will be entering in his motorcade. So you can see it's a soft power of India. It's a soft power of both the countries that is on display here. They have their own unique musical instruments combined with the classical Indian musical instruments that are being used to welcome the Prime Minister. There are Bhojpuri songs that are memorized by generation and passed down to the newer generation. The stories of how people came across seas, had made voyages from India to this part of the world that is thousands of miles away. So when it comes to the earlier times in the 19th century, when the Indians came in from different parts of the country, it took about 8 to 10 weeks for people to cross from India, almost all the entire Indian Ocean, and reached Mauritius. So it was a very, very difficult voyage, a voyage of hardship and challenges, and many people did not even survive that particular journey through the high seas. So it's a very emotional thing for the Mauritians as well, that now in today's world that culture is still preserved in the country.
Okay, I think that's the Geet Gawai, the traditional Bhojpuri musical ensemble. I think they are all, prepped up to welcome Prime Minister Modi as he arrives in resort in a short while from now. Akshay, if you could hear me before I go to the guest, a quick understanding now on the deliverables now that are also on the table. So there are basically two aspects to this visit: the personal touch, the connection, the cultural and the traditional, linkages, and hard diplomacy and output and outcomes on table.
Well, when it comes to deliverables, one of the most important is going to be the Civil Services College that will be inaugurated by the Prime Minister. There are expectations that both the countries, as far as the working of their bureaucracies are concerned, they will be having further cooperation. There will be further cooperation in terms of that. There will be further cooperation in terms of maritime security. That is, in fact, one of the most important linkages between the two countries because they share a border, they share the same ocean, and the concerns when it comes to the security of the Indian Ocean remains the same for both India as well as Mauritius. When it comes to freedom of movement, freedom of trade, both the countries want the freedom to be preserved, and that's going to be one of the key aspects as well. It is also noteworthy to tell our viewers that healthcare sector and education sector are the two key areas where both the countries can enhance their engagement. So about 8 MOUs are going to be signed between two countries. That is what is expected as far as the deliverables are concerned. Sakal, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Akshay Dogre, for joining us live. We'll of course come to you in a bit, but let's go live across to our special panel of experts examining the importance of the visit in terms of deliverables and the MOUs that are expected to be signed. Professor Ajay Kumar Dubey, can we go to the guest, please? From School of International Studies in JNU, and Ruchita Berry, Senior Fellow from VIF. Bilaterally, just to Ms. Berry, bilaterally speaking, significance and expected outcomes, especially the key areas where we are going to see further convergences.
So it is a very important visit because, first of all, this is a time when the entire world is in flux because of the various security challenges that we are facing, various conflicts and other issues. So there is a desire from India's side to build up greater synergy with Mauritius on various global issues, whether it's climate change, whether it is dealing with issues like conflict and maritime security. These are some of the concerns that India shares with Mauritius, and we want to have a close coordination in dealing with these matters at the multilateral level. Secondly, I think in terms of what would be expected, there would be some kind of MOU signed in the maritime sphere. India and Mauritius share a very close maritime partnership, as has been reiterated. The India and Mauritius share the waters of Indian Ocean. So there would be a step taken to enhance this maritime partnership between India and Mauritius. So there might be an agreement between the Ministry of Earth Sciences of India and that of and the Mauritius government to enhance the partnership in further research on ocean-related matters. That could be one. The other could be enhancement of trade between the two steps taken to enhance the trade between the two countries. We've already signed these special agreement on economic matters. So how do we take this relationship forward on those issues? Build further discussions may take place on enhancing closer cooperation in the field of higher education. That could be another area, because India has been looking at building ties on higher education with countries like Mauritius and other countries in Africa. So these are some of the areas which could come up for discussion.
The fact that Mauritius is one of the largest beneficiaries of the, Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, the ITEC program, and you have a sizable number of Indian students studying there and their students studying in India. Final comment, Professor Ajay Dubey, capacity building is something we're also looking at, the kind of contribution that India has made in the last decade or so under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi as far as asset building there are concerned. That is also very, very important. But from you, just to reiterate and just close this cycle of broadcast, the timings of this visit, if you see this through the Indian Pacific Ocean prism, this is very important because there are more convergences, and India and Mauritius are on the same table when it comes to a larger spectrum of issues confronted by the countries of the global south, and India helming that grouping.
Yes. In fact, this is very important from that point of view because, as I said, Indo-Pacific issues have become very important, and India has to aggressively decide its defense mechanism, how it is going to deal with the new situations, how the world powers are coming to Indian oceans, and how India can chart out its way with a strategic autonomy to pursue its own interest in the region. And in this, Mauritius is a very, very important partner, and Prime Minister Modi visit to this time will cement this and take it forward, the traditional relationship.
Okay. On that note, thank you very much, Professor Ajay Kumar Dubey from JNU, and also Ruchita Berry, ma'am, Senior Fellow BIF, for joining us on this special broadcast. Thank you, both of you. And we continue to broadcast our special coverage from St. Louis in Mauritius, India-Mauritius strengthening ties. It's time to slip into a very short break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.